episode 2 of the most over-ambitious series on YouTube. Let's autocraft everything and go. To start off with, we have this beautiful work of art. This thing is amazing, and I don't even know who made it. If anyone does, let me know. I'll definitely add a tag. I'll link their name in the description, because this thing is art. It's not just redstone, this is art. Let me show you why. So one of the big hassles has been trying to actually get a comparator output out of the autocrafter here. You see, the problem is that generally we've tried to have it in subtract mode, then we'd have something else, then we'd maybe have like another autocrafter. So then we could tell when this was full by having a signal strength out here. So this beautiful machine, how it works is that, let's say we have a look on this side and it has 8 segments all marked off. So what that's doing is providing a signal strength of 8 to this redstone that we have down here constantly, no matter what. So it doesn't matter how many items we have in here, it's not going to actually change anything at all until we have at least 9. The second that we have 9, the light lights up because basically we've got an observer observing that signal change. And it fits side by side next to all the rest. That is art. I wish I knew who made this. This is an absolute brilliant piece of engineering. You see, the thing is that we can actually use this to make our world even better. Much, much better. Let me show you. So I've set up a bit of a demonstration here so that you guys can get a bit of an idea as to how this can now work. So this design's been simplified down, right down. It's pretty tiny now. And all that you have to do to work it is press one button, and that's it. I mean, the copper bulb is mainly for aesthetic purposes. Like, this is basically working on next to nothing. So the reason why this is working is that if you actually had redstone blocks next to a comparator, it actually deactivated. I can't say that word. Say the word deactivate. Deactivate is that if you have these redstone blocks next to a comparator, it actually deactivates. Why can I not say deactivate? Why? Okay, deactivates. So how this works is that if you have a redstone block right next to a comparator, then it deactivates the comparator. Yes, that's how we talk English. Yes, I have conquered English. Yes, moving on. So from here, what we have is basically a constant comparator line. So this will basically enable us to have the same redstone signal continue on and on and on, which means that this can actually carry any one of 9 different signals. In fact, it can actually carry one of 15 different signals, because basically there's 15 different signal strengths you can have. So it means that this can control things that are set as a signal strength of 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 and so on and so forth. You know how to count. And over here, what we have is a decoding device. This can take one of these analog signals that's 1 through to 15, and it can actually decode it down to basically exact numbers. Let me explain further. This will make a lot of sense in a few seconds. So these bulbs, they're just representing whether or not we're receiving a signal out from this thing. So it would represent the autocrafter getting turned on and off, or lights, or a door activating, or any other number of things, a farm turning on, for instance. And then what we have is a redstone torch underneath it. So quite simply, this is a NOT gate. So as long as this redstone isn't enabled, then this is turned on and it activates whatever the farm is. So all that we need to do is turn off this redstone signal. Now, what we have down here is that it's effectively creating an AND gate. So as long as this one's turned off and this one's turned off, then basically this gets depowered and this gets powered. So all that we have is these 2 bulbs, and as long as they're both turned off, that turns on. Quite simple. And if we have a look from here, again, we have our observer that's observing a redstone signal out from a comparator, which comes from, in this case, the crafter. So we've got the bottom section that tells us whether or not it's a signal strength of 9 or greater. But the top section here, what this does is that the target block allows us to actually put the redstone signal above it, which means at this point, all that we need to do is have a look at this one. So this is basically a crafter set to a signal strength of 9. And if we have any more than 9, so 10, 11, 12, so on and so forth, then basically this signal here will change which turns on this bulb. So effectively what these modules do is the bottom section's measuring whether or not it's 9 or greater, and the top section is measuring whether or not it's 10 or greater. So as long as they're both correct, well, both equal to 9, then it all works. It's kind of genius. It's kind of genius, and they're very, very tiny. Now, unfortunately, how these are set up, I can't actually stack these directly next to each other, but that's okay. For our design, it's perfectly fine. So if we check this out over here, we have this one which is set to a signal strength of 7. Signal strength of 7. Try and say that 20 times in a row. Wow. Okay, so if we press the button, basically the one that's calibrated to only turn on at 7 will turn on. We can turn that off quite easily. This one's set for 6. Press the button. The one that's calibrated for 6 signal strength turns on. Nope, that's not the button. And then, of course, we have 9, which was the one that we were looking at first. And that's set for signal strength of 9. Now, unfortunately, I did actually have one subscriber message this. And basically, what this means is that I've been a bit of a pillock, actually. Yes. You see, I probably should have used lecterns because these autocrafters only have the capability of having signal strength size? Maybe, yeah, of 0 through to 9, while the lectern has the ability to have quite easily and quite controllably the signal strength of 0 to 15, which means that we can actually have 15 different possibilities, all transmitted through this one line. Of course, you can't turn on multiple ones at the same time, but you can transmit multiple different types of signals through an individual line. As far as our machine goes, this is pretty useful. As far as redstone goes in general, think of it this way. You have one command center that basically you can turn on any switch that you want that goes into one line that can turn on any of a number of different farms. So there's nothing stopping you from having multiples of these decoders all set up to the same number. So you could have the ability to control when you want different farms turning on through one of these lines. And you can break up this line. You can change it, modify it, move it up, move it down, change it all around. And that's the beauty of this, is that they're very, very resilient. They're very basic sort of lines. If we were to look at it through a very basic sort of system, this one line, it can carry different signals. I mean, it would take this many basic redstone lines to be able to sense pretty much the same data that we have going between those two terminals there. That's how many lines it would normally take, and it can do it through one line. How mega is that? that's pretty mega. I mean, come on, there's a big difference between those two. That really miniaturizes redstone down massively. Now, things get even better because I've been working hard on trying to come up with some sort of design that we could use for our auto crafting system. If we used one of these designs or any of a number of different ones, a lot of the fast ones are really limited to how many items you can have, which isn't going to work for this sort of grand scale. And the other issue is that some of them are prone to clogging if you don't monitor what's in the hoppers. Now, for a small build, it's not a problem. I mean, if it happens to something like this that's sitting right next to your kelp farm, perfectly fine. I mean, it takes 2 seconds to move this out. For our designs and for our purposes, if you have 4 of these stuff up on you, I mean, that could take a couple days to fix. That's a big fix. So what I've had to do is design our own system that has a few more benefits. So what this is a bit more of a robust design. This will basically enable us to actually craft things and also give a few more bits of information that we probably want. So how these work is quite simple. We just basically send a signal and it crafts what we need. Now, again, this is limited to speeds and things like that, of course. So this one's actually quite unique in that it actually is designed to have a stack in it, or quite a lot of items in it, but without having anything in the hoppers and also having lots in the droppers. The reason for this is that this design is kind of built around the concept of trying to error-proof it a little bit more. Now, what we also have on the back here is a system that will tell us if any of these have actually run out of their items. So, For instance, let's choose the redstone torches. If we run out, the light lights up, we can no longer engage it. It's all perfectly fine, all perfectly safe. Now, on top of that, what we have is this line coming out from here. What this is for is that this redstone torch is obviously going to give us a signal right at this point. And from there, it will decrease 1 and then decrease 1, and then it goes into the comparators where it continues on the stream. What this means is that we can actually not only have the system protect itself if it runs out of items, but it can relay this signal all the way back to a main control center to actually tell us what item we've run out of and send more. That's kind of cool, right? And it does it through this analog signal, because basically if it was a different torch, it would produce a different signal strength, and then we'd be able to tell that slightly different to what this one is. And to go even one step further, we can actually fit an item sorter nice and easy all on top of the droppers without any sort of problems. To trigger this off, we obviously need to activate it. Now this I built literally today, and because of certain commenters, I always love comments. It's fantastic what ideas people come up with, and the silly things that I completely overlook. It's always great to hear what people say. So we can swap out this one and this one with lectones quite easily. And because of that, what it means is that instead of having 4 of these modules, it actually means that I can delete this one entirely, so it doesn't even exist anymore. And what that means is we can actually address exact machines in our big system once we rebuild the entire thing. That's going to be fun. And we can address it just by using 3. 3. Not 4, 3. So how this works is kind of like a combination lock. And each different crafting system has its own combination lock that's basically controlled by these 3 modules here, once we swap it out for lectones, obviously. But that means that we can transmit the data through a big ribbon sort of cable that looks a little bit like this. So that's basically where we stand. We have to now rebuild that entire machine. We have to build a lot of these different modules. We need to build a lot of our crafting modules, but overall, I'm pretty psyched. I mean, I'm pretty excited for a person that has built a gigantic monster machine that he's going to now abandon and rebuild the entire thing somewhere else. This is gonna kill me. But no, this is so much better. This simple machine that someone built just wanting to solve the issue with autocrafters and triggering them off is fantastic. It works so brilliantly, and it works fantastically for a completely unintended design. And in truth, I've just realized that I don't think our machine actually utilizes this design for the autocrafter itself. Huh, no, it doesn't. It doesn't actually utilize this at all. Well, it does for the analog controllers, but not at all for the autocrafter, because it's very useful for a small system. In a big system, not so useful. But it's fantastic for controlling analog signals through Minecraft, which is, something that I'm pretty sure they didn't intend with their design. So I'm going to have to do a lot of building before the next episode to try and basically recreate that entire monster. And hope you guys get some good sleep over the next week or a couple of days, because apparently I'm not. Okay, guys, thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Like and subscribe and lick the screen if you want to. And I'll catch you, as always, in the next one.